Hi everybody, this is foXnoMad, and today I want to help you travel smarter by reviewing the Logitech MX Anywhere 2 mouse. So chances are, if you're watching this review, you fall into one of two camps. And the first camp is somebody who's got an older mouse, maybe with a wire, or just an older mouse that needs to be updated. And you're looking to get a better wireless mouse that you can use as a daily driver, that you can use pretty much every day for regular use. And the second camp is those of you who already have a nice mouse at home, but travel frequently and want something that's a little bit smaller and more portable for the road. And this MX Anywhere 2 mouse does a pretty good job for about 1.5 out of 2 of those camps. Let me explain. So let's get right into it. This is a pretty small mouse depending on what you're coming up from. I was going from a very small wired mouse I had to replace on the road when mine was stolen, so this was a jump up for me. It's 34.4 millimeters tall, it's 61.6 millimeters long, and it's about 100 millimeters wide. Now the Anywhere 2 mouse is pretty light. It only weighs 100 grams and it has a built-in battery. You can't change the battery, but it's rechargeable. It's designed to last about 2 months, and it takes about an hour to charge it back full through micro USB. But if you're on the run and the battery dies, you can charge it up to about an hour of use with about 1 minute plugged in. There are 2 ways to tell how much battery life you have left. The first is in the software. There's a little indicator in the bottom, so when you open up the Logitech software, you can get an idea of how much battery life is left. But this indicator light on the top will flash green when it's charged. It will flash yellow when it's running low, it will start flashing red when it's really low, and when it's just pretty much dead, it will be a solid red. There's not a lot that comes out of the box. You've got the charging cable, you've got the mouse itself, and you've got this little receiver which you can use if your device doesn't happen to have Bluetooth. And when you're unboxing the mouse, don't forget to take the little receiver that's just hidden on the top flap here. If you have Bluetooth built into your laptop already, then you don't need to plug in this extra receiver. Don't make the mistake of stealing a USB port when you don't have to. Now, since this is a mouse designed for travel, it would have been nice if Logitech had included a case or a sleeve with it, but they don't. So I'm going to link in the description below to a soft shell case that I found, which does a pretty good job of protecting this mouse without giving you a lot of additional bulk in your backpack. And the design is pretty sleek. It has this matte finish which is really nice in the hand. It's very comfortable. I don't know how well that will hold up over time. It does seem like it will get scuffed easily, but I haven't really noticed that yet in my use and travels. This mouse is pretty easy to set up and configure. You just turn it on, connect via Bluetooth, and it allows 3 different settings, so you can pair this with 3 different devices at once. The laser pointer built into the mouse is also designed to be very precise and work on all sorts of surfaces, including glass. Now, based on how well the pads on the bottom, now the camera doesn't do a really good job of showing the little scratches and scuffs that have already accumulated, and I've only used this on a mousepad surface. Shout out to Glorious Gaming PC mousepads. I'll link to that in the description below, but considering that I've only used this on a mousepad and it's got these little scratches, I'd probably recommend just sticking to a mouse pad even when you're traveling, and I would be wary of putting this on too many different surfaces. Now, I know that's what they're designed for. They're designed to protect the mouse, but it just still feels like it's getting more wear and tear than it should be. Now, this mouse is very configurable, and you really want to download the Logitech software that comes with this mouse. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. There's no software obviously or USB drive inside the box, but you really want to get that software installed so you can make the most out of this mouse. That allows you to configure all of these buttons. So you've got this scroll button here, and with a hard press, you can turn that from a smooth scroll to a clicky scroll. And you've got this other button on the top you can use to set all sorts of actions, like showing the desktop or maybe going forward or backward in a web page. On the side, you have these 2 buttons that are also configurable, but the default is forward and backward. So when you're web browsing, you can go forward in a page or back in a page. For me personally, I found these buttons to be just a little bit too far back to be comfortable, and I don't have very large hands, so if you have large hands, that's probably going to be more of an issue. It's not going to be super comfortable, and I found that I'm not using these buttons very often at all. The scroll button, though, I do use a lot, where I can move the scroll button left or right, and those motions can also be configured for all sorts of actions. Now, one thing I want to mention for Mac users is when you install the Logitech software, you're going to want to give it accessibility permissions, otherwise the scrolling is going to stop working, and it might take you a little bit to figure out why that's happened. It's because you haven't given it accessibility permissions. I'm going to leave a link in the description below on how to do that, but it's pretty simple. Other than that, for my personal use, I really liked the tactility of the buttons, how clicky they were, how precise they were. I also really like that you can set the different types of motion and sensitivity. It's a highly configurable and portable mouse. It works great on airplane tray tables and all sorts of surfaces. And if your hands are small enough, it just might be a daily driver for you. So there's just a few things that I want to mention about this mouse, which I didn't really get an opportunity to test because I couldn't really test them with this short amount of use time. And the first one is the longevity of this mouse. So if you read the reviews on Amazon in particular, you'll hear a lot of complaints that this mouse doesn't really hold up over time. It starts to have mechanical issues, software issues, connection issues, and so on. So in my use, I didn't encounter any troubles, but I'll keep using this mouse and traveling with it and do a road test it in the future to let you know how well it holds up. The final thing I want to mention is how happy you are with this mouse really depends on how big your hands are and what you're already used to in terms of mice. So if you're already using a larger mouse and you're used to having your hand arched like that in a comfortable position, then the MX Anywhere 2 mouse is not going to do a really good job. It's probably going to make you uncomfortable after a while of use. For shorter travel trips, so if you're just using this when you're traveling for a business trip, or if you don't travel too frequently, then it's going to be probably just enough. But for a daily driver, for people with large hands who are used to a large mouse, then it's not going to be ideal. But now if you're somebody with smaller hands who's looking for a mouse that you want to use as a daily driver, one that you're going to use every day for extended periods of time, then I think this mouse might work for you. So let me know in the comments below, do you use the MX Anywhere 2 mouse? Is this something that you would get for your travels or home use? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll have new videos for you every week. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. And today I want to help you travel smarter by reviewing the Logitech, and you're not already used to a larger mouse like the Logitech Master, and you're not already used to a larger mouse like some of the other large. So let me know what you think of the MX Anywhere 2 Master.